Welcome to Chair Chats, the podcast from Emory's Department of Medicine with DOM Chair Carlos Del Rio. During this edition of Chair Chats, our chair, Dr. Carlos Del Rio, chats with Dr. Sushma Cribbs, the Vice Chair of Faculty Development. They will discuss mentoring, promotions, recognition, and more on this edition of Chair Chats. Stay tuned.
Welcome to the Emory Department of Medicine Chair Chat podcast with me, your chair, Carlos Del Rio. With me today is Dr. Sushma Cribbs, the Department of Medicine Vice Chair for Faculty Development. Welcome to Chair Chat, Sushma.
Thanks so much for having me. I'm excited to be here with you to talk more about all the ways the Office of Faculty Development supports our 900 Department of Medicine faculty members in mentoring, skills building, promotions, and of course, recognitions.
Yes, I'm so excited to talk to you more about this. As you know, I am passionate about recognizing our people for the excellent work they do year round. But I also want to hear more in ways that your office assists with promotions, with tenure, as well as mentoring, something very close to my heart.
Yes, I've heard you share that famous Catherine the Great quote, praise loudly, but blame quietly. And in faculty development, we really take that to heart. We focus on both formal recognition and encourage all forms of informal recognition. In fact, we have our honors and awards ceremony coming up in September, and we have a record number of nominations for this year's awards. I'm thrilled to be able to celebrate all our faculty and staff accomplishments at this year's event.
Yes, recognizing our colleagues is so important. And it's particularly important at this time where people are anxious, they're losing grants, they're uncertain about the future. And as I said, more important than ever, it's important to do it now. I'm glad we're holding our honors and awards celebration, and I really look forward to it. I think it's going to be a great event. But it's important to recognize the incredible work our faculty and staff do over the year. It is really important to take a moment and just thank people.
Yes, most definitely. We recognize our faculty not only for senior promotions and clinical distinctions, but we also have a lot of different annual awards as well. In fact, I love that we recognize people for not only their research breakthroughs, but also for excellence in teaching and mentoring, which is recognized with the Shanti V. Sitaraman Silver Pair Mentoring Award. We also have our Division Gems, which recognizes faculty for their contributions to their individual divisions, and our RISE Award, which acknowledges faculty for fostering an inclusive climate. Finally, we can't forget that we have staff recognitions as well.
Yes, I think it's important that we remember that we're part of a team. It's not just the faculty, but it's really also the staff that form the department, are part of the department, and we need to recognize them as well. I'm really looking forward to learning more about who the nominees are for this year. Obviously, some are very visible, like the mentoring award recipients, but some, like the hidden gems, are people that I really enjoy learning more about because, as the name says, these are people that are maybe not recognized frequently. And I think this hidden gem is a way to see who's doing incredible work in a division and people that frequently go unnoticed. And it's a good time to really recognize them. So when will we find out more about who these nominees are? I'm kind of looking forward to hearing.
Yes, we'll actually announce all the nominees later this summer in mid-August, and the event itself will be on Thursday, September 11th.
So it's a little bit like the Oscars, right? You hear the films that have made it to the final, but it's only on that day that the envelope is open and you hear who the winner is.
That's right. Exactly.
Oh, that's great. I think it's going to be fantastic. I know you mentioned the Shanti V. Sitaraman Silver Pair Mentoring Award. After the award, I always look forward to also the Mentoring Moments video where the winners sit down with their mentee. In those videos, I've seen them discuss not only the reason why they won the award, but also offer insights into mentoring. And I love, for example, last year's winners, Tracy Henry and Jada Bussey Jones, in which they talked about their relationship. They talk about how, their mentoring was significant to both of them. That also kind of makes me think about mentoring as an important topic. As you know, this is something dear to my heart. I have been fortunate throughout my career to have fantastic mentors. And I also have been able to mentor many people. And there's nothing that makes me more happy to see my mentees now become successful as junior faculty and gone on to leadership roles. Mentoring is critically important in success in academic medicine. And I I also think that there's other ways that we can do mentoring. Mentoring is not just one person mentoring, but there's a lot more that can be done. So I've heard you rolled out a new faculty mentoring program. Can you tell me a little more about that?
Of course, this program was created to ensure that every new faculty member who wants a mentor can have one. Remembering that mentorship is more than just providing assistance with research. It's really about providing guidance throughout your career, and I really believe that it can be both professional and even personal. This program was also created to encourage cross collaborative mentoring across our divisions. Actually, right now, we are seeking enthusiastic faculty members from all across the divisions to serve as mentoring champions for our new early career faculty. This role involves connecting new early career faculty members with possible mentors based on their needs. So, really, the role of the mentoring champion is not necessarily a mentoring role, but more of a connective one where as a champion, you would connect new faculty members with possible mentors. So I really created this program so that we could help our new faculty members find someone who could help them with what they need so they don't feel lost at Emory. And we're really excited to enter year 2 of the program.
It's interesting because the way you describe it, it reminds me about the difference between, I always tell people that you could have mentors, but you also need to have sponsors. And mentors, I define them as mentors are people that talk to you. Sponsors are people that talk about you. And it sounds like this role is a little bit of that sponsor role, right? It's somebody who's going to go out there and say, hey, I just met this person who would be great for this committee, or I just met this young person who I want to recommend for this new role, et cetera. So we all need to have mentors, but we also need to have sponsors. If you don't have sponsors, you don't then find the mentors and find the opportunities that you need. So this is really exciting, and this connectors, this sponsors are really critical for our faculty to find what they need, not only in their division and the department, but beyond that, right? I mean, you could be connected to somebody in the School of Public Health, or you can be connected to somebody in even outside of Emory. I remember, when I was a new faculty member back in 1996, I was fortunate to have some amazing mentors, many of them, but I would highlight our former chair, Dr. David Stevens. I benefit a lot from his mentoring, but I also have benefit from the connections that others have helped me build in my career. I'll give you an example. My friend, Dr. Nora Volko, who's the director of the National Institute of Drug Abuse, connected me with Dr. Jeff Samet at Boston University. I was intrigued by the increasing opioid prescribing in an HIV clinic many years ago. And I said, Nora, I think this needs to be studied. And she said, well, you should submit a grant. And I said, yeah, but I'm not a substance use disorder researcher. I'll never get funded. And she said, oh, let me connect you with Jeff Samet, who does do this. And as a result of that, Dr. Samet and I have been working on opioid prescribing and improving opioid prescribing in HIV clinics for many years. So I think, again, you can have somebody connect you with somebody else and then develop that relationship. I'm also a big believer in peer mentoring. You frequently learn from your peers and even from your mentees. A mentee paradoxically can be a mentor too. For example, many years ago, there was a young resident with us, Amita Kaloki, who approached me about joining one of my studies. I was studying, substance use disorder and risk for HIV among crack cocaine users. And she wanted me to incorporate intimate partner violence into the measures we were doing. And she told me that her long-term goal was to work developing interventions to address intimate partner violence in India. I told her, I said, I know nothing about intimate partner violence and I've never worked in India. But she was unflappable and told me that she had other mentors in the topic of intimate partner violence and that she could be my mentor in this topic. And in fact, she became my mentor in this topic. And we went on to really develop, start working on intimate partner violence, start working in India. And now Amita, who's one of our senior faculty members, recently promoted to professor, she and I have been working together in this area. And in fact, recently we had an NIH grant looking at primary prevention of intimate partner violence in India, something that I would have never gotten involved if it hadn't been for Amita's mentoring of me as her mentor. So, mentoring is really interesting, and it's not unidirectional, and it takes you into amazing places that you just have to let go and go in them. So So tell me about your mentors. I'm sure you've had some incredible mentors too.
Yes, I have also been very lucky to have some amazing mentors in my life. And your stories are just so heartwarming. And I've had similar experiences as well. My first mentor actually was Dr. Fernando Holguin, who used to be at Emory, but is now at the University of Colorado. And even though he was my mentor more than 20 years ago when I was a resident, we have continued to keep in touch. In fact, he just texted me the other day, sending me pictures of his sons and asking about my own family. And as you mentioned, not only was he my mentor, but he was also instrumental in sponsoring me and introducing me to several others who have been influential in my career. This includes Dr. Sunita Sharma, who is Vice Chair for Faculty Development in Colorado, and she has already been a great collaborator, and we've been collaborating on mentoring programs and how we can work together to grow mentoring across both our institutions. So not only was he my first mentor, but has really continued to be a great connector and sponsor. In addition, other examples, Doctors David Guido and Greg Martin have guided and mentored me and continue to do so in the pulmonary division. And of course, I could not forget Dr. Kathy Grenling, who's been an incredible mentor to me outside of my division and in the faculty development space. I think both our stories highlight how important it is to actually have mentoring teams and different people who can help with different aspects of your life. We're really trying to grow these same types of mentoring bonds, just like the ones you and I have been so lucky to have with this new program.
Yeah, and I tell people that again, mentoring is promiscuous, right? You don't need to have one mentor. You can have multiple mentors, and you use your mentors for different things, right? You can have a research mentor, a life mentor, sort of all sorts of mentors, and it's creating that team. And frequently now, people that apply for CASE or Career Development Awards, we ask them not to have one mentor, but really to have a mentoring team in which, when you look at, for example, the specific aims of our research, you can have different mentors that are mentoring on different specific aims in your Career Development Award, because in fact, that people have been specialized in such ways that you need to use them to their maximum opportunity. So, clearly this is something that we can grow. And I would say that I'm really, really happy that you're doing all these things. Now, beyond recognition and mentoring, I know your office does a lot of other things. You have building opportunity, you have resources, but you also do promotions. And I know that's a big job in this department. So tell us a little bit about this past year. They've had about how many promotions does the Department of Medicine put forward, and what does that entail? Because I know the promotion is I've gone through it, and we all see it as a mountain ahead, So what have you learned? What makes a promotion successful?
Yes, so that's a great question, Carlos. I think we have had a record number of promotions this past year. In fact, we're in the middle of our associate professors right now, and we, for the past couple of years, have had more than 30 associate professors for just service and teaching alone. So if you combine that with everybody else, our office has put together more than 70 packets per year, which is really an incredible number. And it's just another testament to how wonderful our faculty are and all the great things that they're doing. The staff has been amazing. We definitely could not do any of the things we're talking about without our amazing staff in the office. That is for sure. As far as promotions, we are really working on trying to create and put together resources for our faculty because, as you know, although promotions is a wonderful thing, the process can be long, and many faculty may not know all the steps involved. So we have one of our most popular offerings that we've put together is called the CV Review. And we have a session actually coming up on August 13th. Registration is open for that, and faculty can still sign up to join us for that until Friday, July 18th.
So tell me, what happens in that CV review?
So it's a virtual session, and during the session, we pair the registrants with members of the department's promotion and tenure committee for a 20-minute one-on-one meeting. So these meetings provide the faculty with individual advice on their progress towards promotion to associate professor or full professor. The feedback we receive from these sessions is always stellar, and faculty are always so appreciative of this individual feedback. I think the other reason this session is very popular, and I always recommend it to faculty before they decide to go up for promotion, because it's really a great review to do mid-cycle before you're ready to go up to see where there might be gaps and other opportunities so that you can really be successful when you move forward for promotion.
No, you're absolutely right. I think this mid-cycle reviews are critically important. When I was in School of Public Health, that actually was mandated, at least for tenure track faculty. They actually, in the tenure track faculty, went for actually a review by the faculty committee on appointment and promotions in the school. We're obviously a lot bigger. You do it at the committee level, but it's really important for faculty to take their CV at one point and be told, look, you're doing great here, but you need to do more here, and you need to do more here. Uh, it also, allows you to know where you need to invest resources, what you need to do, and to get promoted successfully. I tell faculty that this is a critically important thing, and I'm really glad that your office is taking the time, and to all those that volunteer to do the CV review, because it is if you do it well, it takes time, but we, getting ready for promotion and being ready for a successful promotion is a really important part of this whole process. How do you, if I'm getting promoted, do you get people, what's the timeline? What is the process? Because some people have complained that, I don't know how this works, takes a long time. What more or less is the timeline?
So the timelines can be confusing. I agree with that. Before I went up for promotion, I thought the whole process was very confusing as well. So one popular resource that we recently created to address this concern is our promotion roadmap. So this is a visual guide for faculty that kind of like an infographic that we created so they could see the promotion steps step by step. It's a roadmap. So step one is when you first enter Emory, and it continues on that journey until you get promoted. It also links to which resources are most valuable at each step of this journey. So I think it's a great visual representation of how the timeline works from the time that you enter Emory and how you move through that promotion process. Additionally, we have the Professional Advancement Tracks for Health Sciences, or PATS, and these are documents which assist faculty in navigating a successful career trajectory. It's divided by career years into best practices and academic mission areas. And all of this incredible information is on our website. So I always encourage faculty to get on our website and spend some time when they have a few minutes, just flipping through our resources and seeing what's available. And of course, they can always reach out to me or my office if they have questions after that.
That's terrific. My advice to faculty is, when they're starting, is that your promotion starts the day you start working on your promotion. And one of the things that I tell people to do is to keep a spreadsheet or a document where you write everything you do, because you may not think it's important, right? But I got invited to give grand rounds here. I'm giving a lecture there, or I'm, participating in this committee or that committee. All that at the end is going to count. This is going to be, remember, we get promoted on research, on teaching, on service. And at the end, you may not remember all you did, but a lot of our people do a lot of things. And especially now with Zoom, you frequently are doing things nationally that you may not think are national because you're doing it from your office. But if you got invited to review the program at X, Y, or Z place, write it down, because at the end of the day, that is national service and it's going to be critically important at the time of your promotion. So don't waste the opportunity to write it down. Take a little time and do that. It'll become very valuable at a time of promotion. The other thing you work on is clinical distinctions. And again, this is a very, very important program. So what is the difference, and what is clinical distinctions?
Yes, so I completely agree. Clinical distinctions is another type of program that recognizes dedicated clinicians who are committed to delivering exceptional care and who do outstanding clinical work. So faculty who want to learn more can always reach out to their division director or service chief or administrator to express their interest. The information is again on our website. It is another recognitions program for our faculty. So I always encourage faculty who are doing clinical work, at least 50%, to please look into this program. The distinctions are also recognized at the school level. So it's not just a department distinction. It's something that can be recognized at the School of Medicine, just like a promotion. I also want to remind everyone that the call for clinical distinction nominations is now open until next Wednesday, July 11th.
It's interesting. As I was saying previously, you get promoted for service, teaching, or research, but frequently people get hired to do clinical care, which, you can say is service, but is really clinical care. And I remember many years ago when Claudia Atkinson was in the School of Medicine and she was giving a talk about this. He says, for what you get hired to do, which is to provide care, for example, you get paid. but that's not the reason you get promoted. You get promoted for other things you didn't necessarily get hired to do. But I think this clinical distinctions does recognize that excellent clinical work and does recognize those excellent clinicians that exist among us. And while we all think everybody's an excellent clinician, they are truly outstanding individuals. And I think this is a wonderful program to recognize what they do and to really make them feel that they're not only being paid for this, but they're being valued for what they do. How can our faculty get involved and help with what's going on in faculty development?
Well, we have so many ways that faculty can give back, and I would love to have as many faculty as possible who would like to be involved in our programs. For example, as I mentioned, faculty can serve as a mentoring champion for our new early career faculty mentoring program, or they can join us on the Faculty Development Council. So, if any of our listeners are passionate about promoting professional growth and development within our department, please let me know. And I also just want to remind everyone that their service on the council and their role as a mentoring champion all count towards promotion as well. So, if anyone is interested in either of these options, I would encourage them to contact me or Bevan in our office. There's a lot of ways to get involved, and I think we're all here for a purpose and a reason, and helping others really helps create that sense of purpose even more so, I think.
And it's also that payback, right? If you benefit from mentoring, if you benefit from the support of others, now it's time to give back to others. It's that circle of life in which we benefit and we then help others achieve their goals by giving them the experience and helping them through the process. Well, I want to thank you for chatting with me today. I've really enjoyed hearing about the fantastic work that faculty development does for our Department of Medicine faculty members. And I look forward to seeing you and everybody else at the Honors and Awards celebration in September.
Thank you so much for having me on, Dr. Del Rio.
Thank you, and please thank your staff for all they do.
Thank you so much for tuning in to this edition of Chair Chat, the podcast from Emory's Department of Medicine. For more information, visit medicine.emory.edu. Thank you so much. We hope you'll join us next time for Chair Chat.